Alright. Let's take stock of where we are now. We have a bit of a better longsword. You'll notice the attack went up. Not by too much, but it's still nice. We have this caduceus kite shield, which is better in literally every way than our knight shield here. So yeah, that. Oh wait, fuck. Never mind. I was on the wrong thing. But it's still better in pretty much every way than our knight shield here. It's definitely gonna take that. And we also have this bastard sword, which is a lot more attack and is actually a different type of sword. Unfortunately, we don't actually have enough strength to use it in two hands at the moment, so we'll have to spec into that before we can really get the most out of this. If you try to use a weapon that you don't have the stats for, your attack is really, really awkward. It's such a great animation. That said, we do have enough strength to wield it in two hands, so if you do the two-handed thing, we can still get its full attacks style. What am I trying to say? Anyway, that's because we have, I believe, half of the strength for it. I can't remember what the exact cutoff point is. It might also be you can take your strength and then add half of that to it again, and then that's the kind of weapon that you can two-hand. Someone will know the exact formula. I don't care. Anywho, we are still presented with two choices here. We could either go up into that parish again, or we could go into the Darkroot Garden, and I think I am going to do the latter. Going to reverse our hollowing. We actually have stockpiled a bunch of humanity here, so I think I am going to kindle this bonfire. Because this is really a hub for Darkroot Garden, the Undead Parish once we go and finish it, and Sen's Fortress once we finally unlock that. So it's definitely one of the better bang-for-your-buck bonfires. Plus, Andre is right here, and we'll be visiting him fairly often. So it'll be nice to always be able to top up to 10 Estus flasks. But hey, got some neat new gear. So let's go exploring. And let's immediately run into something really fucking freaky that throws lightning at us. This is a Titanite demon. They are really annoying enemies. Because, as you can see, they take precious little damage. And have giant fuck-off attack radiuses and huge jumping attacks that'll smash you in the head. It's sort of meant to be another one of those enemies that you don't take until much later. Which is why I'm going to try and kill it. There we go. We're not doing too bad damage to it. The biggest thing to watch out for is that jumping attack there, because it will mess you up. And it will go right over most of your shield, so be careful. Most of his other attacks you can do with a decently powerful shield. Yeah, like that. Exactly like that. Just jump away from him when he does that. Trust me. All that said, they do attack very, very slowly. Not entirely sure how he's doing there. So, generally, you're fairly safe. It's another one of those things where the game tries to psych you out with a giant enemy that you don't do too much damage to, but is not actually too difficult once you know what you're doing. That said, this is also a fairly high defense, slow enemy, so I may speed this up afterwards. I wonder how it does, how fire bombs do against it. We may never know, because he's just gonna defend against them with that pillar. Oh, not too bad! It's like a truck. You'll notice from the lightning attacks that he using the pine resin on him isn't necessarily the best of ideas. It's sort of meant to be a hint about that. I think it's the first enemy you see that actually uses those kinds of attacks. Ugh, whiffed on that. Oops. Whoa. His reach is also massive with that pole, like, jeez. The game does so much with all the enemy types. I've also probably put myself in a bit of a bad situation here. Whew. Of course, I could also talk about enemy design while I'm here. You'll notice that its head is basically a giant anvil. Its quote-unquote head. And it's missing a leg. So it walks around with that freaky kind of hobble. It's a very off-putting kind of enemy design, and I like it a lot. Boy, he just wants to hole himself up in this corner. I'm glad he only did one attack there because I was wide open. Yeah, that thing has so much range. Oh my god. Sorry, now I'm treating this like a proper boss fight. Jeez. Just talking all about design. Oh, hey, that happened, and since I have nothing else to talk about, I might as well mention it. You'll notice that little fire thing went into my head, and I gained an Estus flask from that. That means someone else kindled the bonfire that I am currently resting at. And it's another neat little online feature like the bells. It's good. I like it. God, this arena is so awkward. He's totally gonna jump on me. As we're approaching the end of this fight, I will say, I think using the stairs to sort of like make his attacks miss is a perfectly valid strategy, especially if you want to take this guy on early, because honestly, this is one of the fights that I really would recommend you skip at the start. Your weapons just don't do enough damage, and the arena is just awkward enough that you're much more likely to just end up dead. And that's no fun. Like this thing is just a solid wall of health, you know? Where the Black Knight is the kind of enemy that you can go down and they have a big, interesting attack pattern and it's really like a scary fight. This one's kind of like, eh. Sort of a lot of repositioning and stuff like that. Now he's in a really awkward position here. Gonna jump on me. Ow. By the way, if an attack takes away all of your stamina, it will basically... Boy, he has no idea where to go right now, does he? Jeez. Out of his fucking misery here. If an attack takes away all of your stamina, all of the damage that is left after that will basically be done to you as health. So you can block most of an attack, but still take a bunch of damage from it. There we go. We get Demon Titanite from that, which is yet another form of Titanite. Again, I just skipped that fight at the start. I forgot how long that took. Oof. You could just come back with a better weapon and later and do it. It is interesting to place it right next to the blacksmith like that. But yeah, it's another special upgrade item. I don't really feel bad going back for our Estus flasks here, because I don't think he respawns. Yep, perfect. Now this room is just empty. Let's go exploring. you can once again tell immediately that you're in a very, very different place. With some very different enemies. I also forgot how long it took for this to, like, spawn the hello message. Very different enemies that have a very certain thing about them that you'll want to be careful about. There we go. But I really like that the game starts you off with the Undead Burg and the Undead Parish, and they're both very similar to each other. You can kind of tell that they're the same area, and then immediately from there shoves you into this completely different, very strange location, the Darkroot Garden. It also immediately throws a path behind you that you might not be able to see. And these plant monsters, do you backstab them? I honestly don't know. This may not be the best place for it. Always hallways. I'm also on an inclined surface, which can fuck with the backstabs in weird ways. So yeah, the game splits into completely different paths like this right at this point. And while it does do it at the start, I think this is the first place where it really does it in a, you know, in a context where you really can just choose either path. This is where the Metroidvania aspect of the game really starts to open up. And I like that. So it pushes you through the Undead Burg and the Undead Parish first to make sure that it kind of knows how you're going to be approaching the game. You know, how you're going to approach the first few areas, and it teaches you all of those lessons. And this is the point where the game really feels comfortable opening up and letting you, you know, start to choose your own path a lot more. Obviously, there's ways around it, but... Hello there. These enemies are also interesting because I believe they are the first enemies that have a grab attack. I am going to do my best not to be grabbed by that attack, but maybe I'll show it off. That is it. It's very short range, it's very obvious, very telegraphed when they do it, but if you've been playing Sword and Board and are used to just blocking enemies' attacks and smacking them, you are going to be punished to shit. Like, just about every starting armor will allow these guys to one-hit kill you. It's pretty fucked up. So, even when the game has opened up a lot to you, it still has, you know, it's still teaching you lessons in every area, and very discreet lessons at that. We're also getting items that stop bleeding. I would really prefer if we got some of the items that stopped poison, but, you know, you take what you can get. Try down. I'm not sure I trust you. But I will try this spot over here. That said, if you actually, you know, if you're paying attention and you look around, you will notice that this isn't just, you know, run-of-the-mill woods. We're still in some sort of ruins. You'll also notice that there's a cliff face here that we very clearly can't get to, but that there is a promise that that is an area you can go to. It's a nice touch. As are so many things in this game. Let's see what's over this way. But yeah, I'm gonna try to, like, keep my camera panned up a bit, just so that you can really get a good look at this area. It is very pretty and very different from what we've already found. You're also immediately kind of, your eyes are dragged over to this thing over here, locked by some contraption. If you were paying attention to Artorias, to the crest of Artorias, you probably figure, okay, I bet I know what that does now. But maybe we don't want to go over there. This is going to be, well, I was going to say a helpful message, but Tri-Secret's sort of like, eh. That said, I happen to know that there's a bonfire back here. And it's quite useful. And also extremely hidden. I definitely did not find this my first playthrough, or probably several subsequent playthroughs after that. Like, if someone online hasn't put a nice message about this bonfire, you're not gonna find it. Like, you haven't been trained to attack secret walls yet. So it really is meant to be, like, it's much closer than any of the other bonfires that we've found so far to the last one. So it really is meant to be a hidden, you know, a prize if you're looking around, if you know what you're looking for. As said, I think I'm going to take a short break because I really need some water. Alright, that's a bit better. I've been rambling about this game for an hour and 17 minutes. My throat's a bit dry. So, forest, hidden bonfire. Quite useful because we have quite a bit to explore. Even discounting this place that we're not going to be able to get through. And that door that we're not going to be able to get through. Darkroot Garden is set up very interestingly in that there's both an initial area that you're supposed to be able to clear from the start of the game, and a much, much more difficult area that you're not supposed to clear from the start of the game, like that you could wander into and get yourself killed in. That said, there's an item there, but it's a trap, and grabbing it now would make getting through this area, if I happen to die, a lot more difficult. So I'll just get it later. I think it's just some souls. There's a really fucking big fog door, and you might think that it leads to somewhere dangerous. And it does, but it's not a boss fight, so it's kind of funny that way. But anyway, these woods. This is where things get interesting. As far as this area goes. Like, before it's sort of just kind of a small, straight path. But here you actually sort of get a bigger, open area. You can immediately see that there's an item over in the woods, but you also kind of see, you know, some armor over there, and I'm not sure how good I feel about that. If you're observant, you also notice that there are kind of some lights. Some things giving off lights, but let's say that you're an idiot and just, you know, say, oh, the forest. Oh dear. And you run into some giant ass knights. Some giant ass knights who can actually cast spells on you. If you happen to be, oh, actually, wow, I didn't realize that was an aura that, like, is just if you get close of them. That is Tranquil Walk of Peace, I believe. It is a miracle that you can learn yourself. And it basically makes it so that if an enemy gets close to you, they can't move very fast. Like, they walk around like that. It makes it much easier for the big old knight guy over here to bonk you. So, these guys are slow, and they don't have as much health as, say, the Titanite demon that I took 20 minutes to kill, but they're definitely pretty chufty. They definitely are an encounter designed to make you not want to fight them. It's kind of a warning to be like, yo, stay out of the forest. Of course, leave no item unturned. This may get us into trouble. Actually, I'm pretty sure that that's a... Hello? Alright, that definitely is. I'm not sure if I have a way to attack them yet, though. I can't. That's more me not being able to do things. Yeah, there's 2 suits of armor just lying here, but you know what? Fuck it. Oh, this was such a bad idea! This was such a bad idea! Sorry, I'll try not to make that voice too much. Yeah, grabbing that armor is an extremely obvious trap. Ooh, how are we not dead? I'm going to back up, because I know that these things have limited aggro range. It is quite far, though. Quite far! Oh my god. There we go. I think they're finally leashing, maybe? Holy shit! Maybe these ones are just supposed to chase you to the ends of the earth. Oh my god. You'll also notice I am doing way more attack with the way more damage with the stabbing attack than I am with the thrusting attack on these guys, or the slashing attack. That's because the stab does thrust damage, and the slash does slashing damage. And these guys are a lot weaker to thrust damage than they are to slashing damage. Another useful and important thing that you might want to notice. Alright, this is definitely not how this encounter is supposed to go. I'm really surprised that these things haven't leashed. Oh, hey, I can't roll when I'm Tranquil Walk to Peace. Tranquil Walk to Peace. Duh. This is super awkward and not how this encounter should go. I've also, like, let this guy chase me all the way back over here. This is hilarious. Oh, there we go. He finally got past, which means I can kill him. Okay, that guy finally decided they wanted to go back. Jesus. No, never mind.